Hey there, rival fans! Today I want to present you top 10 craziest and most disgusting heroes that might appear in the Marvel Rivals at some point. Since developers said that literally all 9,000 characters might be used in the game, I think this will be the craziest ones. Grab your snacks and get ready to the most hilarious Marvel Rivals video so far. Starting with the Soft Serve. Soft Serve was a mutant in Caracoa seen trying to give a fellow mutant her ice cream while waiting to go to the Hellfire Gala. Sometime later, Forge tried her ice cream and said it was the best damn ice cream he'd ever had. Her powers are interesting. Soft Serve can poop ice cream. She has control over the flavors she produces and can poop pretty much all the different flavors of the ice cream. Her ice cream is 100% edible and she has full control over the flavors she produces. And later, she discovered that her body is a portal to the ice cream dimension. Well, I think it would be pretty insane and hilarious to see her in Marvel Rivals as a strategist hero, for example, who can heal allies and destroy enemies with her special ice cream. Next one is the Bliss. She is a mutant with a deadly face at the end of her tongue. The creature possesses razor-sharp fangs and sometimes wears a mask to hide its identity. Bliss has a unique and disgusting abilities which she can use in the battle. Prehensile Tongue. Bliss' tongue has a smaller mouth, nose and eyes on it, and she can extend it. Poisonous Venom. The smaller mouth of the Bliss tongue has a razor-sharp fangs that can inject poison into her victims. The poison can render her victims unconscious for several minutes. Her bite has even proven effective on a Colossus armored form. And the hyper-extendable jaw. Bliss can open her mouth much larger than an average human to accommodate her tongue. Honestly, might be a really fun hero, but still pretty disgusting. Number 3 is coming in the Globe. Robert Herman has a superpower to become invisible like Invisible Woman, but with a twist. He can turn his skin invisible and that's all. Everything else is visible and his ability is actually permanent, which means that he looks like this always. His powers are quite simple. First one is wax physiology. Globe's Herman's body is made out of bioparaffin, living wax. This wax is highly flammable, allowing him to light himself on fire. He can also fling bits of himself. He also has superhuman strength, superhuman durability, and superhuman speed. Could be a really interesting vanguard hero someday for sure. Jumping into the Beak. Barnell Husk was a student in the Xavier's Institute. He was being taught to fly by Henry McCoy. Later, Beast was telepathically attacked by Cassandra Nova when Beak arrived to present his prized baseball bat as a token of thanks. He was controlled telepathically by Cassandra and forced to beat the Beast. Jean Grey attempted to restore the damage done to Barnell, but he remained seriously injured and mentally distraught. His abilities are pretty simple. First one is the avian mutation. Beak has a mutation wherein his bones were light and hollow. His arms had feathers which allowed him to glide and fly for the short distances with a great effort. In his sight, Beak can see at a long range. And he's pretty good in making friends. Honestly, his powers are pretty lame, but he might become a pretty interesting NPC hero for the PvE mode, for example, or some kind of a strategist, like Jeff the Shark. Next one is the Vade. Alex Clooney was a mutant with the ability to spew gelatinous energized ooze from his mouth cavity. The discharged ooze could eat through or dissolve almost any substance in the world, was tormented by nightmares of the first time his mutant power manifested. A forbidden drunken makeout session on the beach ended up with a spewed acid vomit burning his girlfriend's face. She survived, but Axel wondered if the nightmares would stop if he ever remembers the girl's name. Pretty disturbing and disgusting character, but honestly, with some expanded abilities kit, he might be a fun hero to play. Number 6, coming in with the Maggot. Thickly South African Japeth thought he had cancer, and not wanting to burden his family, went into the desert to die. There he encountered Magneto, who released 2 sentient slugs from his abdomen that he later nicknamed Eenie and Meenie. It isn't necessarily the powers that have such an ick factor. Super strength, endurance, and durability are pretty standard superhero fare. is that they have to come for these two huge slugs burrowing themselves out of the Maggot's stomach and eating everything inside, except actual food, and then burrowing back in. And the name doesn't help either. Next one is the Todd. Not only are the Todd's powers disgusting, but he looks pretty horrid as well, and none of his compatriots ever let him forget. Ridiculed throughout childhood, Mortimer Toynbee developed a Toddnish demeanor to get along with the appearance, which causes him to follow nearly anyone who shows him any attention, good or bad. Toynbee has the attributes of the human-sized Todd, and chief among these is his superhuman leaping ability. One of his more disgusting attributes is his prehensile tongue, which he used to bind people and which also delivers a paralytic agent, and at one time shoot fire. Toynbee can also control amphibious creatures and stick to the surfaces. Add to this Toad tendency to not bathe, and he is just generally an unpleasant fellow to be around. Could be a pretty interesting strategy though. Next one is Husk. Kentucky-born Paige Guthrie is extremely attractive and intellectually gifted member of the seemingly endless Guthrie family, but it how her mutant power manifests, and her unfortunate code name that leaves much to be desired. Husk can form another state of shape of herself beneath the surface of her skin. This state can be anything from diamonds to wood that may possess any numbers of superhuman properties. She must rip away her skin and clothes to reveal this new form. She can do multiple changes over time. She just leaves her discarded skin on the ground. Beautiful or not, no one would want to come across a husk of Paige's skin on their morning walk. And this hero could be interesting as a duelist for sure. The next one is the skin. South Central LA-born Angelo Espinosa has around 4 to 6 feet of loose gray skin that covers his body. Angelo can stretch, expand, and pull this skin to perform any numbers of feet as long as it doesn't compromise his normal skeletal structure underneath. He can also reshape his face, but he can't change the pigment of his skin. It also requires a great deal of concentration. The thought of being enveloped in the folds of someone's extra skin brings up a lot of touch issues, not to mention hygiene ones. Also, Angelo looks like a melted candle most of the time if he fails to concentrate. This guy is kind of a weaker version of the Mr. Fantastic who is coming to the game at some point, but still might be an interesting character for the PvE mode. And the last, but definitely not least, is the Thursday Rubinstein. Ruby replaced her head with a supercomputer with organic circuitry. The outside of it is made with a special plastic that can mimic the functions of the human head, and can extrude up to 8 tentacles that can be used as weapons. It also allows Ruby to exercise a number of powers, for example, shape-shifting. She can also form out the shape of the certain controls with her head. With concentration, Ruby can disguise herself as a normal red-haired woman. Regeneration. She can emit a huge sticky blanket of her 20 projectiles at a time from her head. Her head immediately replenishes its lost mass, presumably from an extra-dimensional source. Ejection head reflexes. She can separate her head from her neck, and in this condition, she can control both her head and body, albeit a lesser capacity. Her head can fly fast enough to dodge some attacks. Energy blast. Fire blasts off a pure force from her head. If in contact with an individual, the head can generate an amazing intensity energy of almost any type. Energy explosion. She can cause her head to explode and reform. She can make the magnitude of the explosion large enough to knock out durable human and humanoid creatures such as the Hulk. This would be a hell of a duelist if she appears in the Marvel Rivals, but still would be pretty disturbing character. Anyway guys, this is my list of the most disgusting and disturbing characters who can be in the Marvel Rivals at some point. If you know some more cool characters to add to this list, be sure to mention them in the comments down below. And don't forget to subscribe for more amazing Marvel Rivals videos.